Today's Retro Spot, we're having a look at the Toy Biz DC Comics superheroes, Mr. Freeze. As indicated at the top corner, fully posable figure with its own unique action feature. In this case, Mr. Freeze changes color. Now, something that the DC Comics superheroes all seem to have when they were released is this kind of basic gold back card design. And then you had your character on the front there. They've mixed it up a couple of times, but for the most part, it's been relatively the same. I don't know if you can see this, but the original price on this figure was $3.99. They then marked it down to $2.98. That's a very odd price to mark a figure down by. I could see maybe $2.95, maybe $2.50, but $2.98, that's just a little odd. Just a little odd. I do like this picture of Mr. Freeze here, and if somebody, I think people have asked, there's handfuls of people that ask these questions. Spot, what do you do with your packaging when you throw these, when you finish the figure reviews? Do you throw them out? Some of the retro packaging, like the DC Comics superheroes here, for example, I will likely keep the back cards. The bubble I'll obviously throw away, but the back cards I generally keep just because they are so retro. On the back of the package, a picture of Mr. Freeze without his dome. It says, this arch-villain cannot live in normal temperatures. Watch him change color if he is not in his own freezing environment. Mr. Freeze is comfortable living in cold places like your refrigerator. Take him out to normal temperatures and his arms, legs, and head will change color. Placing him in water will also result in color change. On the side you can collect some of the other figures, all of which, a lot of them were reused from Superpowers figures. We got like Robin, Mr. Freeze, the Penguin, Riddler, and up the top there, Superman, Lex Luthor, and Wonder Woman. I think the only ones that are real, well, Mr. Freeze I don't think was ever a Superpowers, and Lex Luthor wasn't. At least he was in the armor when he was part of the Superpowers line. This is also dated. Let's see if we can find a date here for you, all you individuals. 1989. 1989. The read-up says, Mr. Freeze sends a shiver throughout Gotham City. Batman's cold-hearted, cold-blooded foe has threatened to turn Gotham into a glacier. The twisted Mr. Freeze can only survive in sub-zero temperatures and needs his armored suit to keep his body on ice, in quotations. The frozen felon's costume contains built-in weapons, including a device capable of creating ice instantly. A brilliant but deranged scientist, Mr. Freeze could plunge the world into a second ice age. And I said throughout, it just says through, but I added that extra little bit. It's apparently all the news that's fit to print, the Gotham Globe, first series. What I am going to do is take a bit of a break. We're going to get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the cold villain known as Mr. Freeze. Don't go anywhere, more retroness on the way. Spot took the liberty first at the beginning of this review to put Mr. Freeze in the freezer. You can see, for starters, that his skin has turned blue. And if I can take his dome off here, his face has also turned blue. Yay, gimmicks that work. The gimmick in no way interferes with the figure itself. Still does a pretty good job, and I like the fact that his limbs and everything go blue. How about that? Granted, the fact that he's been in the freezer for a little bit, his joints are extremely stiff, and as you can see, maybe there's a little bit of ice in there, I don't know. A little bit of ice, I don't know. But a very classic costume. Maybe as this review progresses, we'll see Mr. Freeze warm up. This blue will go away. But a very classic costume, Mr. Freeze. For the longest time, I know when I was growing up, you can see that his limbs are already starting to go back to being white. When I was a kid, though, growing up, this was what I always conceived as Mr. Freeze. I mean, I remember seeing this toy. I remember seeing ads that had this toy with little cannons of some sort on his bottom torso area here. And, of course, the domed helmet. I think every kid who grew up in the 80s remembers Mr. Freeze. looking like this. Very, very cool, though. I'm trying to see here. I think I might have actually got the helmet on the wrong way there. Let's get that helmet on. There we go. Yeah, it's just a very cool toy. And I don't mean that's no pun intended. He is actually a very neat looking toy. He's in scale with the Super Powers toys. So if you grew up with the Super Powers toys, Mr. Freeze is certainly a nice addition. I don't recall actually this Mr. Freeze being part of the Super Powers figures. Whereas I think the Riddler, for example, was part of an international exclusive. I think he was like a Spanish release. I think Mr. Freeze was pretty much just a standalone figure that was released through this line. Just a really, really neat figure. I mean, he has no accessories or anything like that. But for a gimmick like this, it works. And you can see that he's already starting to change color back. His knees are going now white. All that blue is starting to fade away. In the way of his articulation, I'm just going to take his dome off again. His head rotates left and right. And then, again, there's his face. You can see the blue now fading from his face. His arms rotate all the way around. No articulation in the elbows or in the wrists. His legs go forward. And surprisingly, he has a bend in the knee, which was a nice, pleasant surprise as well. I think being that there are so many fans and so many collectors out there that remember this Mr. Freeze as a memorable suit, very similar to like the robotic Brainiac. I mean, a lot of people remember that from their childhood as being the Brainiac. Because of that, actually, what was really neat is a good segue to another toy here. For that reason, I'm just going to put him down here. For that reason, Mattel also released the original Mr. Freeze from the Batman line, and then later was part of the DC Superheroes line. They released him as part of the Batman Legacy using the same colors. Now, the only thing they did do was that, and I don't like this, that they gave him a pink dome on his helmet instead of just a clear. But you can see where, yeah, they definitely share a lot of similar aspects. I don't know if they got the coloring down just right. A little more of a violet purple would have worked better on here instead of us getting like this pinkish purple. Down here, you can see where he's got the stripes in his boots. They could have just striped the top here and then left the rest of the boot in that other blue. But still, a nice little nod to the 80s fans out there. The kids that grew up my age bracket, that grew up would have had maybe this toy as a kid. We kind of got a very updated, larger 6-inch scale version of that toy. So I kind of think that's cool. I kind of think that's neat. And again, Spot says cool. No pun intended. But I really like the fact that they did that. Overall, I don't really have a lot of bad things to say for the toy. He's just very nostalgic, for me at least. He is very retro. This isn't the original toy that I had as a kid, but I did have a Mr. Freeze when I was younger. So having this Mr. Freeze again is very, again here I'm going to say it, very cool. And you can see that his face is already now almost back to the way it was. So a really neat gimmick. Certainly one that doesn't hinder the toy at all. I'm going to give Mr. Freeze a very retro 7.5. If you can find him, and he's fairly inexpensive now to get, so there's no problems there. But I would say pick him up if you just want a real retro toy. I think he's very neat. Today's retro spot, we're having a look at the original DC superheroes. We're looking at the DC superheroes, Mr. Freeze. Thanks for watching, guys. Certainly stick around. More retro spots are definitely heading your way. And in the meantime, I'm going to wrap this up here, and I will say, chill out. Oh, you see what I did? Okay, that one wasn't as good. See you guys next time. Bye.